Sorry for the delay, but I am here. It looks kind of smudgy. Hold up a second. All right. Hello, everybody. Oh, y'all are already in here. Okay, it's lit. It's lit. CashApp back with another video. I got some henna today because my birthday was yesterday, so you know, I had to get lit and celebrate myself. You feel me? Let's see who's here today. Okay. Oh, we got some first timers. Living in Japan. Lit. That's so dope. That's so dope. Okay, got your green smoothie, Chipotle. Karina, you lit. That's dope. All right, y'all. Wait, hold up a second. Oh, I saw the stuffed mushrooms. I thought you was talking about something else. All right, so as you see by the title, I decided to drop in today and talk about LOCs, of course, right? And some things, some lessons that I've learned along the way. Because many of you know that your LOC journey and your life journey are intertwined. And some things you learn for your hair applies in life and vice versa. So I figured today we can just chit-chat about some things that we have learned thus far in this journey. And, you know, see how that conversation goes. Wait, hold up. I gotta, like, close out some tabs over here, child. Oh, my God. Ah! Wait. Okay. Let's see. Oh, hey, yes, people. Hey, yes. Hello, yes. Now, what inspired this train of thought is the fact that some of y'all know I turned 30 yesterday. What? Yes, I did. And so I figured, you know, part of leveling up and turning a new age is reflecting and seeing what you've accomplished thus far and what you would like to accomplish in your life and stuff like that. And then, you know, it's just like, I may as well talk about what I've learned in my hair journey, you know? I don't know why this damn thing won't show. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to, like, open up the video on my laptop so I can see the comments, but it's not working. Give me a second. Give me a few seconds. While you wait, drop your location in the chat. I'm trying to see who's in here today. I saw Japan was in here earlier. Who else is here? Texas, okay, it's lit. Okay, hopefully it works now. Is it working? Is it working? Yes, it's working. Florida, Washington State, Louisiana, Atlanta, Jersey. Okay, come through. We across the board, okay? We are nationwide. Is on your side today. Okay. Yes, of course, Trinidad and Tobago. Oh, this is nice. Diversity. The place is diverse today. Come through, Rhode Island. South Africa. California. Oh my goodness. Thank you for the super chat. You just came through. Okay, you kicked in the door with that. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Y'all are so sweet to me. It's so nice. All right, so without further ado, right? Thank you for the birthday love, y'all. I appreciate it. If you want to, you know, share some additional love in my Cash App, that'll be great. I receive that. I welcome it. Matter of fact, let me put my Cash App right here. And let me just put that link in the chats just so you have it for those who are interested. Okay. All right, yeah, so without further ado, let's get into it. We've been in here for 4 or 5 minutes already, so let's get started, shall we? Now, so I wrote a little list of the things that I've learned so far. And my birthday was yesterday, y'all. Yesterday. feel free to chime in and like share any lessons you've learned along the way. One of the first things that I've come to realize is the importance of not forcing things, whether it be forcing your hair to lock if your hair isn't meant to do so, forcing it into a certain style or a certain look. I've learned that's translated into life. Like any situation where you feel that you have to force your way into it is most likely not something for you, right? I don't believe in forcing things. It's kind of like if you have a puzzle piece and the two pieces don't go together, but you're still jamming it closed, it just doesn't work out, right? And I feel like that one applies to people who are like flirting with the idea of getting locks, but they're like on the fence about it, or they're trying to convince themselves into it. You're not entirely sure. And for y'all, I would just say, if you feel like you gotta force it, put a bookmark on that for now, or revisit it later, you know? What else? The importance of trusting yourself and tuning to your intuition, listening, hearing yourself, really. So when it comes to my hair, even with me starting my lock journey, like I was talking to someone about it and I was saying how I wanted to start it myself. I felt competent in that area. And they were like, no, you gotta see a loctician, you gotta make sure they do your parts and everything. And they kind of were trying to convince me against starting it for myself. And I was just like, no, I trust myself. I feel like I can do this. I've been dealing with my hair this whole time, and I believe it's quite straightforward enough for me to do it myself. And then here I am, 5 years later, and I'm here telling other people how to navigate their lock journey. And it all started with me just trusting my own decision making, you know? So when it comes to your hair, you learn how important it is to be clear about what you want, but also listen to yourself and learn how to discern between what feels right to you and what other people are trying to impose on you. You start to realize the importance of putting up boundaries to an extent, because people try to put their expectations and project their ideals onto you, and if it doesn't apply, you don't have to accept it as yours. All right, let me take a sip on that. Okay. Wow. Okay. If it doesn't fit, don't force it. Exactly. Hello, so glad I finally caught your live. You're so beautiful, beautiful spirit. Thank you. Thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate that. I've learned self-love, loving each phase my locks go through. Absolutely. Self-love is like the top lesson that you learn in this journey, because you can't escape yourself. You can't escape your natural self when you choose this lifestyle, you know? And when you meet who you really are, uncut, raw and uncut, you learn a lot of things about self and about other people. And you learn acceptance, you know? I'm seeing patience in here too. That's a fact. Patience is a virtue, child. Okay? All right, what else did I put here? Oh, so something else I've learned just in caring for my locks is paying attention to how your locks and your hair responds to the things that you do. So whether that be like an oil that you're using or shampoo or conditioner, whatever that you put in there, pay attention to how your hair reacts to that, right? Because your hair will tell you if this is something that'll be conducive to our growth and evolution, or is this gonna hinder the growth process? Is it gonna cause buildup? Is it gonna make your hair dry out faster or something? Like, pay attention to the reaction, right? And the way that translates into life, lived experience, is like paying attention to how you feel around other people, paying attention to how you feel in certain scenarios, how you feel about your job, your life path, whatever it may be. How do you feel in those spaces? And really like giving like energy and time to consider that, because whatever environment that you're in or situation you choose for yourself has a lasting impact past this moment. It ripples out. So just like with their hair, if you put, I don't know, shea butter in your hair is gonna cause buildup, and that'll be a lasting impact, right? If you stay in a relationship that doesn't fulfill you, that'll leave a lasting impact. So you start to consider how important it is to pay attention to those sensations, you know? Like, is this working? And if it's not, readjusting. Or if it is, keep doing what you're doing. So it's like a constant auditing of yourself that you're doing in this journey that I've realized. And it's not always comfortable to do that, but it is necessary. Like recently for me, I had to audit myself on my retwist and wash schedule, as y'all saw, right? I was doing too much with that. And I had to be like, okay, girl, chill out with all the extra shit that you're doing. Pace it out, try something new, do something different. And now I'm doing this whole, now I'm like, okay, every 2 months I can bust a retwist, which is new territory for me, but I wouldn't have known that if I didn't take a second to pause and reflect and see how my hair was responding to what I was doing, you know? And because I started doing that more, I noticed in my life relationships, certain people couldn't continue in my life journey past a certain point. Like certain connections that I had, I realized that they were stunting my growth. And it was hard to like accept that in that moment, but I realized how important it was to recognize that and shift gears, you know? Can anyone relate to that? Raise your hand if your LOC journey and what you've been learning so far has translated into how you've been showing up in the world and how your relationships have been going. I want to see. Anyone else can relate? Let's see, hold up. I started my LOCs because I have confidence in myself, period. Why am I fucking stuttering today? Do I need to take a pull? But yes, confidence. Talking about wigs in here, I don't know what to say. Learn to embrace change and that everything in life is temporary. That one. Everything is temporary, and the only constant is change. Things are always changing. Bevan, I love that. Well, hold up, come back. Things worth having don't come overnight. Life is about growth and constant change. Oh shit, yes, we're on the same page. Adapting, etc. Exactly. And I love that you said that things worth having don't come overnight, because a lot that kind of blends into the instant locking, lock extensions realm, where at the end of the day, a huge part of this process is surrendering to the unknown aspects of it, not trying to control everything about it, and recognizing that every phase is temporary, is constantly changing, and you can't always anticipate what that change will look like. And that's life. That's literally life in itself, in a nutshell. It's constantly shifting. Are you capable of adapting to those shifts? And if not, okay, what are you going to do differently to build up that resilience in yourself, you know? Okay, what else we got in here? Let me look on this side. Oh, I saw something about an ugly stage in here. Wait a minute, hold on. Took mine out. I love them. I might get them again. I exuded nothing but confidence even through the ugly stage. Because the ugly stage does not exist. KD. That is why. My confidence is so much better in life because of my LOCs. Absolutely. I second that. It has completely changed how I show up in the world. And it's not on purpose. It's just as a result of the ways I've had to adjust in order to accommodate these joints. It shows up in how I had to adjust to accommodate other aspects of the world. So you just move differently, you know? Let's see. It's It's crazy because I started my lock journey same time as my financial literacy journey, which couldn't have been a better time for both because they're both teaching me patience. I love that. I love that. That's dope. And that shows me that you are someone who is being intentional about the moves that you make, the decisions. You're trying to create your life on purpose as much as you can. And I respect that. That's very dope. Okay. Let me get back to my list of lessons. Okay, hold on. So we touched on this already, like the value of loving yourself in all of your forms, not just when your hair is cooperating perfectly. Also, in those moments where you don't know what the fuck to do with your hair, but still learning to accept yourself and love yourself still. Because it's not solely about how you look, it's about how you feel and how you treat yourself. Very important. Wait, hold up. Oh, to add to that, right? As far as loving yourself in all forms. If you see that there's an aspect of you that you don't like, right? So one thing about self-love and self-acceptance is also recognizing where you have room for improvement and being okay with doing the work to address that, right? So for instance, with your hair, you might notice, I don't know, maybe you deal with a lot of dryness, right? And although acceptance is a part of the journey, that doesn't mean you just have to accept the dryness, right? You do something to address it. If there's an aspect of your personality or you have some flaws or weaknesses that you're not comfortable with carrying with you through the rest of your life, it's okay to be like, yo, there's parts of myself that I don't like it, and I want to do something about it. And I'm not talking about on a superficial level, like, oh, I want to lose this amount of weight or change my boobs or some shit. You know, not like that. In terms of your characteristics, things that you have a say over. You get to decide who you are and who you show up as in the world. So if there's a part of how you show up that you don't like, you have the autonomy to do something about that. For example, for me, one thing that I recognize about myself is sometimes I'll like agree to do something, let's say a plan or activity, just for the sake of like the group, even if I personally don't want to do it. And that leads to issues when it comes to planning things or flaking from plans. And like, I don't like that. I recognize that I do it though. So what ends up happening is because I'm aware that I do that, in a moment where I feel myself being flaky, I'll be like, okay, but you gotta follow through because you gave your word to this situation. So maybe you don't feel like doing it right now, but challenge yourself to do what you said you would do. And if you're not willing to do that, be willing to be honest that you didn't plan this accordingly. Like being able to take that L and say, look, y'all, my bad. Like, I shouldn't have agreed to this. I'm sorry. You know? And because I don't want to have to say that, it makes me follow through instead. You know what I mean? Does that example make sense? But, you know, it applies to everything else. What are some areas of yourself that you feel like there's room for improvement here? And then, you know, what are some actionable steps you can take? Small things that you can tweak, you know? Thank you for the super chat. I'm beginning to walk and stand different. It's crazy. Never thought a hairstyle would make me level up. It's so true because it's beyond a hairstyle. It's beyond a hairstyle, and that's why you have to level up yourself. You do. Because joining a lock community and a lock journey, you're basically stepping out into the world and saying, I don't give a fuck about how you perceive me. All I care about is doing what feels right to me and being true to myself. And that is apparently an act of rebellion. Apparently that's bold. But it causes you to shift your perspective. It shifts your lens, your frame of reference. It shifts how you view other people and life itself. just by making that decision. And then sticking to that decision for the whole time, regardless of opposition. That requires another level of yourself too, you know? Shifting is definitely necessary. That's a fact. I used to flake definitely was a personal pet peeve that I didn't like about myself. Yeah, like, thank you for the super chat. Yeah, like, cause you know what, I'm moody in that I can be in the mood for something in that moment, and then the mood will change, and then I'm like, I don't want to do it anymore. um, and this is where the intuition comes in, because sometimes that mood shifted because it isn't the right thing to do. Like, there's a reason why I feel uneasy. And sometimes the mood shifted just because I'm feeling lazy or just don't feel like it. And I had to discern, is this me being lazy, or am I feeling disturbed about this thing? And then deciding from there what to do, you know? Same, I'd be flaking, so I just say I'll think about it. Yeah, that's definitely one tool you could use to, like, buy yourself some time. But then the thing with that messes me up is that now it plagues me, because now I'm in my mind thinking about how much I don't want to. And then I still have to bring myself to the conversation where I say that. Or even another thing, here's something that I stopped doing that I used to do, and it came from me learning things. I used to ghost certain people, not everyone. Like, if I realize that our connection just isn't there, or there's something I don't like about this person, I used to just stop talking to them. And then I was like, but that's so fucked up of me to do that. Like, that's not cool. And I know I don't like that feeling. So I challenged myself to be honest with that person instead and say, hey, you're great, but I'm not into it. I feel like we're just not connecting. But it's no shade against you. Like, just deciding to say it to them. And I've had conversations unfold where they're like, yo, I actually respect you for telling me that. Like, you can turn something down and be respectful or considerate of how that person will feel without compromising the decision that you're making. And it takes more effort. You have to be a little bit more, emotionally intelligent, or lean into those soft skills to navigate those conversations. But it's worth it in the end, because now you spoke your truth and it was received because you did it in a way that was respectful and kind. Like, you showed compassion there, And then the person gets to feel like, okay, that's cool. I can respect that. I can accept that because you told me the truth about it and you weren't a bitch about it, Way better than ghosting. And that's just one example of a way that, in being mindful of my hair and how it reacts to things, and then turning that into being mindful of myself and how I react to things, it leads to what changes can I make that are healthy for me and the people around me, So yeah, let's see what else. Better to be blunt. Yeah, that's true. Saying my disappearing. I've learned that those are like defense mechanisms too, because it's easier to guard up than it is to be vulnerable and tell the truth. But it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. You single? Yes, at the moment. I definitely ghost people to avoid that convo. Yeah, that's why I was doing it too. I was doing that too, until I was like, it also helps when someone ghosts you, and then you're like, damn, this is what I've been doing to people, huh? Doesn't feel good. Are you drinking water? Yes, I am. Growth, exactly, Amanda. I be forgetting to tell people I don't fuck with them like that. I'm done. Not I be forgetting to. That is funny as hell. You gotta make the effort. Try to tell them. And it's way easier to tell them via like text or like on the phone than it is to say it to their face. So it's like, what is that personality type that they said? Dismissive, avoidant. That's like a bonding style where you kind of avoid the confrontation because you get anxiety about having to directly address something, but sometimes you have to. Because there's people who don't even get the message, and like, let's say you try to ghost, but they'll continue to hit you up because really they want you to tell them directly that to stop. Like, they'll keep, some people will do that on purpose just to challenge you to, you know, stand on it, to be firm about it. I've noticed that. I've noticed my locks itch when I'm about to do something that I shouldn't. Not the locks itching. The spidey senses are activating, telling you, child, you better shape up. Okay. All right, what else I got here? Oh, here's another one that I learned about pouring into yourself, you know, self-care, nurturing, is that when you pour into yourself, your growth is inevitable, right? You just will grow. It's a part of it. And that applies to your hair journey too. When you genuinely take the time to learn your hair, what is needed, and respond and nurture that process, your hair will grow. It's inevitable. Sometimes people ask me, what do you do to make your hair grow so long? And I didn't do anything specifically for that reason. I simply took care of myself. My hair, myself, my spirit. I'm over here holding my damn lip gloss. But I took care of me and did what I felt was needed for my hair, and it translated into lock growth and personal developments. So, yeah. That was pretty dope to witness, you know? And one of my favorite aspects of that whole correlation is how your hair reflects all the things that you've been through. So all the changes you've made, the lessons you've learned, if you've been applying them in your life, your hair is like a reflection of that, because you can always be like, yo, when my hair was this long, I remember how I used to move and treat people. And then in that window of time, I made a shift and my hair is this long now, you know? And with each degree of growth in your physical hair, it mirrors your life experience. Can anyone relate to that? I feel like y'all feel me on that. But Sammy, speak on the people who will lead you on and then ghost the next day. Ooh. Yikes. What can I say to that? Like, people who lead you on, which is basically giving the impression that they're interested and they want to pursue something with you, and then they disappear. Sometimes the disappearance act is like on some, there's someone else they're interested in and that person just graduated to the next level and they're like, they just divert their attention over there sometimes. But other times it can just be that dirty and friendly, and then they realize that they actually it's kind of like they started something they can't finish, and they realize after the fact. And so instead of taking that L and being like, yo, sorry, I'm actually not interested, they just remove themselves entirely. But I really don't want to speak too much on that, because I don't know what motivates people to ghost. I know what motivated me, and it was just me not being comfortable enough with confrontation. That was my thing, until I challenged myself to do better. And so, yeah. But if people are leading you on and disappearing, you don't want them in your life anyways. Trust me. trust. At least not to that degree. Keep him as a acquaintance level, you know? Logs hasn't taught me anything yet. It's not even 2 weeks yet. I'm done with you. Well, that's fine. 2 weeks is literally you've been nowhere. Fake friends, period. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, fake friends. So that's something that came up for me during this journey. Not necessarily that the friendship was fake, but more so that it became clear that the way that me and this particular friend were growing on our own respective journeys, it wasn't vibing. We weren't aligned. We were on two different pages. And so what a friendship where we used to relate on multiple levels, we stopped relating on those levels because I'm literally doing something differently. I'm going down a different path, and so is she. And so it manifested into friendship problems. If anyone watches Insecure, and you know what happened with Issa and Molly, for instance, like that was that kind of vibe. We're just not seeing eye to eye no more. And yeah, now I'm thinking about it. That situation escalated. It bubbled into a very toxic, dramatic explosion of our friendship. And I remember after that situation happened, I was like, wow, this is what happens when I decide to tell people how I really feel about a situation. This is how I'm received. Like, it can be like a sense of rejection, and it's like, damn, you know, you think these people really fuck with you and who you are until you realize they only fuck with you when you're agreeing with them or when you're doing things how they want to do it. But once you start stepping into yourself, because now you're more confident and you're clear about who you're becoming now, you start making newer decisions that reflect who you are now. And some people don't fuck with it because now you're shifting the dynamic where now they can't really predict what you're going to do next because they're used to you being this way and you're being something different now. And some people will grow with you, like, you know, the hair that grows with the lock, and some will grow away from you. And you have to either, like, decide to let it stay away or make an effort to bring it all back together, bring them back into, like, nurture that connection again. And that all comes with, like, circling back to your intuition, how you feel. How does your hair respond? How do you respond? How do you feel around this person now that you are being this way? Now that you're on this journey, how do you feel around them? Are you still vibing, or is it off now? Are they receiving you and all of who you are, or are they starting to feel a way about who you're becoming? These are all things that, you know, it can fucking suck to realize the things, but it's so freeing when you do. And when you, like, give yourself permission to evolve. You don't have to be the same forever. That's literally the whole point of us existing out here and having a life trajectory, is at each phase you reach another developmental milestone, and that shifts who you are in that moment, you know? And so sometimes you shift away from people, places, or things that are no longer of the same, not cut from the same cloth no more. You know what I'm saying? Sammy, you should develop your own merchandise. Thank you for that, Darlene. My family's been extremely negative about my starting locks, except my uncle. He's glad I'm joining him. Well, shouts to your uncle. For the rest of your family, I'm so sorry that they're throwing shade your way. And for that, I would be protect your energy, you know. Set boundaries. So let's say they start talking shit about your hair, just shut it down. Be like, I'm not interested in talking about my hair right now. How you doing though? Change the subject. Because it's not worth it to try and spend all your energy defending your decision to to lock your hair. People usually don't even get it until your hair is long, and then they're like, oh, I see it now. And you don't have time to be spending your whole lock journey catching people up. So protect your energy, set your boundaries, and it's okay to like not invite everyone into the details of your lock journey. Just let them know I've made the decision for myself, and whether you support it or not, I'm gonna do it. So, okay. Oh boy, I tell ya. Now, hold up. I'm definitely having a multifaceted journey. Recently starting locks is exploring what spirituality means to me outside of colonized churches. Ooh, facts. And explore my sexuality. Okay, come through Paradox Squared. You just learning all of the things right now. And I support you. I support it. Self-discovery is important. I mean, what else are we here to do if not learn ourselves and other people? Okay. Wow, this video is for me because I'm seeing different in people around me as I grow. Yeah, like, and I think I've said this before, but it can be really shocking to see who it is that you realize doesn't fully fuck with who you're becoming. It can hurt. It's like, damn, I thought we was gonna be in this forever. Meanwhile, you actually feel like this about me. You know? It can be a hard pill to swallow. Okay, I need to okay, sometimes when I have on lip gloss and I'm like talking a lot, it starts to cake up, and I don't like that. So I need to reapply the things. Okay, y'all? Give me a second. Ah! Oh my God. It's not squeezing out the tube, child. Okay, yes it is. I got this from the beauty supply store, so it's kind of rinky-dink. Kinds of rinky-dink. All right, what else have I learned? I've completely disregarded this list that I made. Ooh, okay. So I mentioned something about, you know, as your hair grows, as your hair grows, you might notice you have some damaged ends. You might have some split ends, maybe color treated, whatever kind of damage, right? Damage enough for you to recognize you need to cut it. And you can be so attached to having the length that you will allow the damaged part of the lock to stay there for longer. But just like with anything else in life, if there's something that is weighing you down, it's literally stifling your ability to grow. You know? Sometimes you have to make that difficult decision to cut your losses and readjust. And that's something I've had to learn anytime that I've cut my locks, whether it's, for some of y'all who don't know, I had some bleach damaged ends at one point in my journey, and I cut off like 2 or 3 inches of my hair. And in doing that, I realized how important it was to, one, stop fucking around with bleach and take care of my hair better. But 2, cut off what was no longer serving my growth and development. Because if I left it there any longer, it would continue to erode my lock and keep going up until it reached a longer amount of space that I would have had to cut off still anyway. So sometimes you get so invested in how much time you spent doing something, whether it's how long your hair is, how long you've been in a job or relationship or anything, and you are loyal to that length of time. And you know how people say you can be loyal to a fault? Because if you're loyal to something but it's actually causing you harm or damage, the longer you hold on to it, the loyalty no longer serves you there. Now you're actually sabotaging yourself. because you refuse to let go of what you are attached to, so you can have space to become something new. So that's something that I've learned from my journey for sure. Now to the point that if I see I have an end where it's like really weak, I'm okay with just clipping that end off and going about my business. I'm no longer stuck on, oh, but I want my hair to be long and look long. It's not about that. It's about health and wellness. Is my hair healthy? Oh, some of my ends are damaged. Okay, I need to do something about that now. I can't keep it here, because the longer you keep that damage on, the more damage it does in the lifetime of your hair, right? So, like, think about other areas of your life where you realize that aspects of it are no longer growing. It just no longer can grow because it's damaged. It's dead. And it's like, okay, being brave enough to acknowledge that and then decide, all right, I need to completely wipe the slate clean and do something else. Even like for some people, they do that with their lock journeys where they'll completely start over. And sometimes it's like shocking to witness, but at the same time, if they were at a point in their journey where they're just not experiencing what they foresaw, right? It's just not going how they desired. You have that choice and that freedom, that option to try again and do it differently this time, regardless of how other people perceive it, So that's something that I've learned too. It's interesting. Interesting. All right, what's another one? Let me see what y'all said. Hold up. This logic can apply to relationships. That's an absolute fact. That is an absolute fact. Like in my lock journey, I've had 2 relationships. One was long-term, one was short-term. And both of them I had to leave because there were things that were showing up that made it clear that if I stayed any longer, it would have become a very unhealthy pairing. And the long-term relationship, I remember I stayed in that longer than I reached that realization at this point, but then I didn't leave until this point. Because I was like, I already spent all this time invested in this, and I didn't want to just relinquish that. So I was being loyal to the time spent, and I realized, what is the benefit of staying around longer in a situation if you know that it's a dub? What's the benefit of doing that? Now you're doing harm to yourself and then also the people around you, because people feel that vibe, And that's without me sharing too many details on that situation. Maybe one day I'll do a video on it, but not right now. Attachment always brings pain. Ooh. I don't want to damn it to like an always, but anytime you're like, you feel that without this thing, you cannot exist outside of your basic necessities like food and water. If you feel like without this person, I don't know what I'm going to do. Without this job, without this whatever, because you're attached to it, you are holding yourself back. Because you have the range to be a wide array of things, separate and aside to what you feel attached to. And part of ascending, even just spiritually developing, is learning the art of detachment. You can't always be stuck on something else if you're planning to grow and evolve, right? Sometimes you gotta just let go, surrender, and give yourself space and opportunity. And this is a message from me too, because one thing that's true is like, regardless of all the lessons you've learned in your life, if you're not applying them, it's kind of just like, whatever. And just because I've learned all of these things, it doesn't mean that I'm perfect at executing those lessons in every scenario. Sometimes I need to remind myself too of what I've learned and that I need to apply that lesson here and now, No one's perfect. We're all trying to figure it out. You know? Okay, let's see. What's another? Considering why you do things. What was I going with that one? Let me just take a break from my list and see what y'all are saying. I return into the office next month and no one has really seen my hair. I'm not worried though, except me, as my lovely locks do not impact my quality of work. That's a fact. I'm so over the whole locks and your professionalism thing. It's like, oh, thank you for the freaking Cash App. Someone said the super chat failed, so they Cash App me. I received that as well. Thank you for the Cash App still. Thank you. Yes. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Presentation, professionalism, like, my question is always, who decided what professionalism looks like? Because there are all kinds of professional careers, whether it be doctor, lawyer, athlete, educator, consultant. Anything can be a professional once you're an expert at it, you've studied it, and you're skilled in that, right? And whether you have tattoos, piercings, locks, whatever, doesn't translate into your ability to do your job. Like, for instance, if you see an EMT and their whole body is tatted up and you don't believe in tattoos, are you going to tell them not to service you, not to come save your life because they look how they look? Like, what's the point of that? It's foolish. So back to whoever it was I was talking about, that definitely step up into your office, like, with all the confidence and sureness in who you are and how you look, regardless. Maybe they'll be confused. Maybe they'll celebrate you. Regardless, it's not relevant. What's relevant is you and how you feel. Do you feel good? Then great. Then it's great. Wait a minute. Have you thought about starting an online class, FaceTime sessions? I have not. I've thought about doing a membership at some point. I've even thought about a Patreon. More so to have like private content where I get a little bit more in depth with things. But I'm not quite sure how I would do it. It is on my mind though, so I'll keep you posted regardless. It feels kind of dark. Hold on. Okay, wait. White people did? What you talking about? What? There are really people so prejudiced that they'd rather bleed out and die, so. Oh, you talking about my EMT example? And it's true. There are people who are like that, and you know how I feel? Then die then. Then do that. That's fine. If you are willing to deny yourself of emergency intervention when you need it because of how someone looks, then just cool, figure it out yourself then. You know, like, people are weird. That's all I can say about that. Oh, I've learned I'm more tender-headed than I realized. I have hair that travels from one side of my head to join a lock in the other side of my head or wherever. That is funny as hell. Yeah, it's not the hair traveling across the scalp. Oh my gosh, that's funny. I don't have a solution to give you, but shouts to you making me laugh. Even here in some Caribbean countries, they discriminate locks in the schools and workplace, not just the white folk. Yeah, that's a fact. And it blows my mind every time I see that kind of thing. It just goes back to the whole when the oppressor becomes, when the oppressed becomes the oppressor. Oh my God, oppressor mentality. Whereas like now everything that has been imposed on you as the oppressed group, you start to enforce it when you are in a position of power. And I hate to see it. I hate to see it. It's like, especially like, because I've seen different stories, like let's say Jamaica specifically, where in certain private schools they're like, locks, hell no, you cutting that shit out or you can't come. And it's like, whoa, Jamaica? It's just mind-blowing to me to think that these policies exist and people that look like us enforce it. And it's like, for whom? For whom? Who is that for? Not when there's judges out here with locks. You know what I'm saying? Not when there's like high level professionals out here with locks doing it. But you're telling me in order for me to get an education, I have to come, like, that's crazy to me. I don't even want to finish talking about that. It get on my nerves, child. Get on my nerves. Let's see what else. Ooh, here's one. So, you know how, all right, basically with your locks and how they look in its finalized state, like it's mature, it looks like locks now and it's growing. People tend to see that on the outside and they have no concept of what it took for you to get to that space, right? So like, for instance, with my hair, people see it and they're like, oh, it's so amazing, but they don't have any idea of what my lock journey entails and how difficult it was at some times and still is. And that translates in life experience where you can work at something to develop a trade, for instance, or a skill. And people don't care about that journey where you're figuring out. They just care about the outcome. And sometimes when it comes to locks, people will try to jump on board and get locks for themselves because they see your outcome, but they don't see your journey. They don't see your struggle. You know, so I've learned to not, because even when you see other people now, because I used to do that too. But because I understand what it takes to reach a certain level in my lock journey and just life in general, when I see other people achieve something in life, I automatically assume, or I'm more likely to believe, that they had to go through some level of trial and tribulation to get to where they're at, whether I saw that or not. People just see the shiny, pretty parts and they assume that all of it is like that, but it's no. Everyone's journey has like those moments where it's like rough and people don't see that part. So they assume that it's all flyness all the time. And it's like, no, girl. It's an evolution. It's a journey. It's a lot sometimes. Are you about that life? No? Okay, so don't just try to jump on the bandwagon. Like, Lord. Lord. They only care about the end product, and when they try on their own, they give up. Yeah, you know, and we see it all the time. And I don't want us to be out here judging people because of that. It's really just like being misinformed or just misunderstanding what exactly is happening here. Because sometimes people just associate it as a look, as an aesthetic. But even if you're doing locks just because of how it looks, you still go through a journey. And it's not pretty all the time. Sometimes it's uncomfortable and awkward. And so what does that mean? Because you don't like this phase of the journey, you're going to completely dip off of it? Or you're going to completely cut your hair or comb it back out? And when you think about it in life, where you're in let's say with relationships, it's not always honeymoon phase. Sometimes it gets rocky and turbulent. And are you going to leave every time that happens? And I've had to recognize that in my own way. Like, there are moments where you would feel like, I can't do this anymore. But it's not like something that's too hard for you to get through. You just don't feel comfortable right now. So sometimes you have to challenge yourself to push through the discomfort to get to the other side of the thing. Even with your emotions, pushing through that vulnerable, open rawness to get to the part where you're secure and you're good again. Sometimes you got to do that. You can't always try to escape. And that's one thing with your locks. If you're really committed to this process, you'll learn that you can't escape yourself. You can't escape hard moments always either. Sometimes you gotta just thug it out and follow through and finish it and get to the other side. You know? It is what it is. Yeah, my cousin wants to lock her hair. Oh, hold on. I asked her, is it because you like what you see on my head or are you doing it for you? She stopped and thought about it. Hold up on that until you feel ready. Absolutely. And for sure, like I've had that conversation before too, where people were like, "Oh, I want to get locks," and you sometimes you gotta ask them. You do, like, "Oh, why? Like, what, what makes you want to do that?" And sometimes they'll be stuck. They don't know why, and even just in you asking them, you've put that in their awareness to consider that, because it's not always just gonna be awesome. And are you prepared? Are you gonna give up on yourself when it's not easy? Or are you going to persevere and get through that discomfort to the other side of it? And I guess that's why people say, oh, with locks, I'm not ready for the commitment or whatever. But even if you take it outside of the lock journey and just look at your life itself, are you committed to progressing in your life? Or do you want to stay the same always? And do you realize that it's not possible to stay the same because you cannot control every single thing that happens around you and how it affects you? So regardless of if you're ready to commit to a lock journey or not, in life itself, you have to be willing to adjust and evolve and shift, adapt, be resilient, be uncomfortable, all of that. So if you can do that in your life, you can definitely do it with your lock journey and vice versa. Okay. Sammy, you triggering me. Ooh, people never stick around through the storm. They only there for the sunshine and roses part. Makes me mad. Man, yo. And it can, let me tell you, it can really fucking suck to realize that. It really is not a good time when you see that that's what's taking place. It's like, damn. Oh my God. And then it's subjective too, because what you consider a rough patch for yourself to someone else might feel like a outlandish obstacle, you know, which just goes along with compatibility too. And like, are you on the same page with this person? Because if what seems like a minor road bump to you seems like this crazy big mountain for that person, that shows you something about how you guys see the world and how you problem solve. Are you a team that can problem solve together? And if not, it's okay to acknowledge that. And if you're willing to work together to become a stronger team, that's great. But if even just one person isn't willing to put in that work, it can't go on. It can't go past that for much longer. Because circling back to the first point, now it becomes a thing where you're forcing the connection. And just advocating from my personal experience, I've been that person before. I've been in, scenarios where I was trying to make myself stick it out or make it work or anything like that. And it don't matter how much you as the individual wants that. If it's something that affects you and someone else, they have to want that too. And you cannot force them to want that, you know? You cannot force a fit. And it hurts. But also know, back to what you said earlier, Bevan, everything is temporary, change is constant. So even if this person can't ride with you in the storm in the way that you feel that you need, and they leave and now you don't have them in that way, recognize that that in itself is a temporary moment, a temporary issue. Just to say that just because this person couldn't do it doesn't mean that no other person in the world can. You know? Maybe you needed them to shift themselves out the way so you can start to shift and become a frequency that aligns with someone who's about that life. And that is something that I've been seeing in my life experience. When I let go and stop trying to force a connection that wasn't working, even though it sucked, I started to attract people who were more about that life than that person was. And you know, then you go through that experience and then you're like, oh, maybe they're not quite a fit. It's still not fitting, but it's better than that last situation. And then you just keep making forward progression, you know? And this, once again, we are all trying to figure it out. None of us knows all the answers to the things. We're just trying to see what happens and adjust. So also, like, learning how to forgive is important too. Accept, release, detach, all of these words that we've been dropping in all night, it applies to all of these lessons. You know? Yeah. I hope that helped. Yes, yeah, everything temporary. Yes, I'm here holding my pee because I want to hear everything. Don't hold your pee. Your kidneys are not pleased. You can, you see, I'm the type to bring the things with me to the bathroom, so you know there's that. I'm gonna be here for a little bit longer, so you're not gonna miss out. Don't worry. Okay, you relieved yourself. You lit. Perfect. Okay, let me see if there's anything else that I wanted to touch on. Life lessons. Do what makes sense. Ooh. Okay, so with that one, I was basically saying that other people are always going to have an opinion on how to do something. And even if their method works for them, it may not work for you. Let's bring it to locks specifically. Different hair textures respond differently to the sizing, the parts that you use, the products that you use. So even if me and my lock journey, I'm saying something and I'm saying it with confidence because it works for me, if it does not work for you, you don't have to do it. So then you start to decide, okay, what does work for me instead? That's really what my intention is to like show you what I'm doing so that you can see what it looks like to decide what you need in a moment. So not necessarily to do exactly what I'm doing, but to recognize that I tried something, it worked, or I tried something, it didn't work. And so I adjusted. So for you, you try something, if it works out, keep doing it, even if it's not something that I'm particularly doing. If it works for you, keep doing it. You know? Do what makes sense. That's like my favorite thing to remind myself. Does it make sense? Does it? If it does, I'm going to keep doing it. If it does not, I need to shift. You know? I'm so mad at myself right now. I can't believe I'm late and I put a reminder. Oh, Chica Mika. Well, at least you're here now. You didn't miss everything. And this will be uploaded, so there's that. So right now, I'm just like opening the floor to y'all to drop any like gems or lessons that you feel that it's important for people to sit with. I'll read them aloud for the people who will view this later. Because sometimes, and it doesn't matter what phase in the journey you are, you can be in the baby lock stage still, and you have a lesson or a gem that'll help somebody who is also in that phase, or who hasn't even started yet because they're still not sure, you know? So drop some additional gems, drop some life lessons in the chat. What are some things that you would have wanted to have heard in the beginning of your journey that you know now that you can share with somebody else? Hi. Oh. Hey, Margaret. Locks taught me that in life you have to pivot. Ooh, yes. Absolutely. Sometimes you gotta switch directions and do what makes sense for you and your hair and your life. Okay, there's no herd mentality when it comes to this lock journey. Although we are all in a community, it's still a very individual journey that you're going through. So it's like, it's the best of both. It's like you get to have your autonomy and your individual journey, but you are also a part of a community. And so it works hand in hand. And you need to be able to discern when it's time to tap into the community and when it's time to sit with yourself. And yeah. Don't wait, hold on. Hubby and I are high school sweethearts, married at 20 years old now for 21 years. Wow. Started our lock journeys together 2 years ago. Our relationship just hit different now. So much more in tune with self and each other. Naturally, that is so beautiful and inspiring. Not necessarily the high school sweethearts part, because, you know, not all of us can just go back to high school and do it that way. But just the whole idea of you and your husband embarking, just doing life together. You're deciding to just go through your life together, supporting each other, evolving together. And that's such a beautiful thing. Because we were talking about earlier how sometimes people can't come with you in your evolution. So it's always refreshing when you see that the people who do ride with you, you know, and it's amazing to watch both of you evolve and continue to choose each other after that. It's so dope. So dope. We love to see it. All right. Don't pay attention to other people's journey, because not every journey would be the same. Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good one. Like, all the people who I had as my lock goals back in the day, it's like now I can look at their hair and be like, your hair is so dope. But they're not my goals anymore because our journeys are so different. So there's no way, like, our hair is just not the same. It's not going to look the same. Even if we have the same texture and density and everything, it still will not look the same. No two scalps is the same. You know what I mean? So, and being okay with that. Sometimes I used to see people and they had, let's say they had like a 3B texture or whatever, and they would get locks and have like the curlies everywhere, and I would be like, damn. Or their hair would just always be soft all the time, and I'm like, damn, my hair doesn't do that. But what am I gonna do? Sit there and sulk about the fact that my hair doesn't do the same thing? Or am I just gonna vibe with what my hair does do and keep it pushing? You know? Let's see. Anyone have suggestions for someone who has eczema and psoriasis flare-ups? Ooh, someone help her. Someone help her with that. I don't know. I'm sorry. I love your authenticity. Thank you, King. I appreciate it. I love your channel. Thank you, Jamaica in the building. Oh, snap. Okay. Locks are teaching me to accept what I want and do it instead of allowing people to try to live through me with their opinions. Because, child, people will try to live vicariously through you by imposing their perspective on you. And you can let them and be uncomfortable all the fucking time, or you can shut it down, or like make it clear that you're not inviting their opinions to inform your decisions. You can feel however you want to feel, but that does not change what I'm doing with my life. Unless, now that's not to say to dismiss how people feel in general. Sometimes they're expressing a concern that you do need to hear. You know what I mean? But when it comes to your locks and your hair specifically, and certain things that you envision for yourself, you can't always invite other people's opinions. Sometimes you gotta be like, look, I hear you, I recognize your concerns, but I got this, and I trust myself, and I would like for you to at least respect me enough to fall back. Ease up. I got it, you know? But I will definitely tap in and ask for your opinion when I need it. But not right now. I don't need it right now. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I'm happy I made it in this space. Always so much good energy. Come through, Journey. Peace, prosperity, and growth. Thank you, thank you. Hair is way more than just dead cells. I think that was just a gem you're dropping in there. I literally feel more feminine with my baby locks. Yes, come through, Crystal, with the feminine baby locks. I love that for you. I love that for you. Embrace all the lessons you learned during the lock journey. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see what else we got. Embrace the surprises, locks, and life is full of them. Come through, Curl Maverick. For Jen Gibson, check out Lock Crush for eczema and locks. She's on Instagram. Thank you for that, Candy. What else we got? When I started mine, I had some... Wait, I lost it. I had some to say why you want to do that to your hair. Oh, like you had some people say that, like, why do you want to do that to your hair? I do me regardless. I love my locks, and I have had them for 15 years. Come through, 15 years, locked in the game, strong. And yeah, people, this goes back to the whole people just see the outcome, but they don't care about the journey. So sometimes at the beginning of the journey, they'll have all these reservations, and they put it on you. And it's like, it's on you to be firm about your decision. Acknowledge that they're allowed to feel how they feel, but also that their feelings don't dictate your decision making when it comes to your hair. And eventually, they will see it. They will get it. They'll understand why you did it. And if they don't come to that space, it still doesn't change whether or not you have locks in your head, right? Because sis says she's been out here for 15 years lit. Okay? We love to see it. What's another one? Hold up. When you are born, you are not the size that you are now, so allow yourself and your locks to grow patiently. Be patient with yourself. Yes, Miss Empress. Absolutely. Patience, patience, patience. 1 minute, you'll have baby locks. The next minute, you'll be dripping. That is a fact. And it's crazy. I never thought I would miss my baby locks phase, but sometimes I do. Because it was just so out of the way. It was just like, I just could just quick throw a little, gather up some at the top, and it looks like a little palm tree or something. And it was great. Do some 2 pigtails. It's sticking out, but it was cute and quirky. Now, my hair be in everything that I do. It's in everything that I do. And I gotta be like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Get it out the way sometimes. But I love it still. Okay, what else we got in here with the gems and the advice? People always concerned about what's on my head, but not concerned about their thinning edges. Oh God. Cast the oil your edges. That's what she just said, okay? It be the audacity for me. You know, sometimes you need to say it, though. Sometimes it's like, ma'am, worry about your edges. Worry about your crown. You got a little something going on over there. But you don't gotta be an asshole about it, you know what I mean? But it is true. Sometimes people their priorities are on you and what you look like when they need to be checking on themselves. Okay? So if that person is you, you know. You and your locks are beautiful. I'm flying. Thank you. I'm flying from Chicago to ATL to start my lock journey in August. It's a part of the spiritual transformation and elevation I've been going through the past few years. Shouts to you, Keisha Williams. I decided to be in an AMBW relationship. What is AMBW? I don't know what that is, but let me keep reading. I decided to walk away from toxic habits, and I locked my hair. With all 3 of these moments, I did what I love and what was right for me. As long as it's right for you and you love it and it is like towards your development and everything, I support you on that. Don't know what AMBW is? Please elaborate. Not just a hairstyle, but also a lifestyle. Facts. I recommend healing the eczema. I have eczema, and yeah, the better I understood my skin, the better my journey has been. That makes sense. That makes sense. I don't understand why people say that, to be honest. Like, you're saying my hair is gorgeous, locks are still my hair. Wait, don't understand why people say, you lost me on that one, Chica. The journey of life is not easy, but you get through it and it will get better. You have to have a firm perspective. Yeah, you will get through it, it will get better. As far as the firm perspective, I think more so what you mean is like being clear about, you know, who you are and who you're becoming. But as far as your perspectives, that will also change the higher up you elevate. You know, you have a higher vantage point, so how you perceive things at one point is no longer that because you can see more. You know, so your perspective is likely to change as well, but it's all a part of the process. I miss mine. Oh shoot, I clicked the wrong button. Two, that was the best part for me. Oh, the starter locks. Yeah, the babies. I love to see them changing and do their own thing. Word. I love my little pineapple and it's getting bigger now. Definitely loving the growth. That's dope. My lock journey was a confirmation on not holding yourself back. I'm a believer in synchronicity, seeing things in your life just fall into place. And I started my locks during a high synchronicity moment. I love that for you, Candy. This sounds like you peep game and you acted accordingly. Started my locks this weekend. Finally decided the size I want. I'm doing them myself. Nervous, not about getting them, but about doing them myself. Journey, the most empowering part about doing it yourself is knowing you can switch the style up. So if you do it and you're not really feeling it, you can fix it. And you know that you can because you did it yourself. For me, I did mine myself. And there was a point where some of them were too skinny to me. So I was like, I need to combine these. And what did I do? I just twisted those together. And now it's its own lock, you know? And I felt confident in making that decision because I called the shots on my scalp because I did it myself. So it's up to me how it turns out, you know? So don't worry. They don't lock immediately, you know? So it's like you have mad time to adjust if you need to. But you got this. You got it. Like, throw on some good music or throw on a good show or a movie that you really love. Get a vibe happening. Get some water. And make sure you have your snacks. Get cozy and then start busting them twists. Okay? You got it. Okay. I'm just going to read a few more and then I'm going to get out of here, y'all. Started my lock journey before starting a new career. Both are flourishing. We love that. AMBW, Black man, Asian woman. Yo, that is giving me Pornhub categories, okay? The fact that you said it like that. But okay. Because you was like, you know, I'm in a AMBW relationship. And I'm like, it sounded like a kink possibly or like a level of relationships that we haven't clearly. But shouts to you and your relationship if it's working out for you. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. Found Lock Crush and I love her hair bonnets. Someone was telling me about her bonnets. I think I'm gonna try it out because I need a new bonnet. I feel like it's super empowering starting your locks yourself. That's a fact. It is. And I think that contributed too to this level of confidence that I feel. Especially because I had someone telling me that I can't start it myself. And that made me be like, I want to do it more now because you said that. I want to prove you wrong. But yeah, it makes you feel more confident. It's like, I can do the things that I set out to do. And that translates in life. Like, okay, you started your lock journey because you decided that you can and you're doing it. Same way, any other thing you do in your life, you can do it so long as you decide that you want to and you're committed to following through. That's where it becomes a deliberate creation kind of process where you set these goals for yourself and then you follow through with the action to lead you to it. And the more you accomplish things and you reach milestones that at one point were so far away, and now you did it, you accomplished it. It makes you realize, I can do so many other things. Huh. What else? What else can I do? You know, then your brain starts working. Wait. I want to start my LOC journey, but I'm so nervous. I don't know whether to start it myself or let someone else do it. I have always done my own hair. Well, if you have always done your own hair, it might be uncomfortable to let someone else do it, because you might be like micromanaging. Like you might be like, oh, they did this, but I wanted it like this. But regardless, I would say sit with it some more. Do a pros and cons list. Easiest solution. What are the pros of you doing it versus someone else? And be honest about that. You know? But if you want to do it yourself, you absolutely can. And the dope part about doing it yourself is it's free. And if you mess up and you realize that you weren't about that life, you can still go to a professional and have them do it still. That's still an option. Okay, so maybe you can just try it for yourself first, the free version, and see how you like that. And if you feel like you did a good job, keep it. If not, you can be like, all right, I tried, didn't work out, so let me see a loctician. That's always an option too. Okay. LOCs taught me boundaries, to reject behaviors from people who try to project their insecurities. Yes, Karina. Not standing for something makes you fall for anything. That is so true. That is so true. You're beautiful. Thank you. Aw. Yeah, okay. I remember when I was in the military and one of my shipmates had LOCs. They pulled her out and she came back with a fade. Wow. They made her cut it. I'm happy they do not do it anymore. That is so traumatizing. Like, that just made me think, in a ghetto sense, of when people cut their partner's LOCs in their sleep because they mad and they want to pay them back. And it's like, yo, I hate that shit. I hate that. It's like, like any scenario where they try to make you have to cut your hair in order to participate in something is not functional. It's like, why? What is the real reason? And there's never a reason that fully makes sense. What does her having LOCs have to do with her ability to perform in the military? What? You know? But whatever. All right. I was just comparing it to the fact that people was like, why are you getting it with an Asian dude? Why are you locking? Oh, okay. I'm just doing what is good for me and being true to myself. Absolutely. And I can definitely see how, like, being in an interracial relationship would have people thinking they can now speak on those things. Like, why would you and all that? But at the end of the day, as long as you are secure with your decisions and you feel like it's right for you, you don't have to catch people up all the time. Sometimes there are people around you who are willing to understand. They'll try to understand, so they'll listen. But a lot of the times people, no matter how much you explain it, they still don't get it. And it's okay. They don't have to. As long as you are good, that's it. Let's see what else. Wait. Oh, it's going so fast. I'm like, right? Like, it's crazy. I think doing my own helped me to enjoy my journey way more. I'd be like, wow, I did that. Exactly. Curl Maverick is like, you're like, wow, I did this. I'm pretty lit. In their sleep, the betrayal. Yes, Paradox, I'm telling you, like, it gets me so upset. That end the relationship for me. Cut my hair in my sleep if you want to. See, that's the type of thing, that's where, because now you're choosing violence. Like, what am I supposed to do but not meet you where you're at? You chose violence. Like, for those who are confused, we talking about the cutting your LOCs in your sleep thing. Like, anyone who will cut your hair to spite you or whatever their reasoning, they're choosing violence. So you gotta decide in that moment, am I gonna choose violence too and like possibly relinquish my freedoms for the rest of my life? Or am I gonna just say fuck this person and remove their access to me entirely? You know? I tell you, people are friggin' crazy. I seen a video on Instagram where a female was watching her man's locks with Nair and he didn't even know. See, like, that's the type of stuff I'm talking about. Like, what is wrong with you? And then also, how you don't, Nair has a smell. You see, this is why mindfulness is important. Discernment is important. Because even with that person in that video, I guarantee that his shorty showed some indication of her being able to do something so petty or so spiteful that he disregarded. To the point that now it had to manifest into this dramatic ass thing. A lot of the times people show you first, but you don't pay attention. So pay attention. Use your intuition. Use discernment. Cutting someone's locks is physical abuse, in my opinion. It's physical, it's emotional abuse, it's psychological warfare. It's layered manipulation, all of that. Ridiculous. I've never used Nair, so I don't know what it smells like. Nair, well, I mean, the formulas have gotten better, but sometimes they smell like eggs, child. Okay? Or like perm. It has a smell. So, your locks are awesome, and I started mine during quarantine. It feels so good when the wind blows or just not looking like everyone with a weave. Oh my God, Anita, that's, first of all, thank you. But that, I can relate to you on that. I've always been someone who I never wanted to be looking exactly like someone else, with this like my clothes, my hair, my style. And one thing about locks is you automatically create your own swag because no one else's locks are gonna look like yours. Or even how they carry it is not gonna be the same as you. And the thing with like the weaves or whatever, although technology has allowed these lace fronts to elevate to a new level, you know what I mean? But everybody looks the same when they have it on. It's the same. The baby hair swoop is the same. The bone straight inches, bundles, it's the same aesthetic. So even though, yes, you look like a Barbie, it's great. But when you stand in a group of your friends, y'all all look like Barbies. You all look like the same Barbie. Like, it just feels like a clone, and cloning makes me uncomfortable. So yeah, all that to say, locks makes you unique, stand out on your own, no matter what. Even if you and the other person have the same hair texture, it will never look the same. And that's what makes it so dope. You just come through unique as fuck. It's like your own fingerprints. No one can replicate it. All right, y'all. Not the creamy crack. Okay, I am done. I am done with this conversation about the things. It's 3:30. I just spit a little bit. It's 3:30 a.m. in South Africa. Appreciate all the wisdom and insight. Your advice has really helped me. Appreciate you. Good night. Thank you, Bevan the Dawn. Shouts to you staying up with me. That is amazing. Shouts to y'all. Y'all are dope. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. We've been chatting for a while. Okay? So, where'd you get your henna? I know someone who does it. I'll put the link in the bio. Thank you all for joining me tonight for this awesome conversation, this energy exchange. Appreciate y'all for the super chats and the cash apps. Amazing. We love to see it. It's support for this channel. And I just love y'all. Y'all are the best. So have a good night, a good morning, wherever you are when you watch this. Oh, and next week I'm coming back with a conspiracy conversation. So check the community tab. Just keep your eyes posted there. I'm going to tell you what we're watching and what we'll be talking about next week. And yeah, see y'all in my next video. Bye.